The phone vibrated insistently in Eleanor's pocket as she watched Daisy choose oranges at Little Hallow Market Day. The 8-year-old girl was concentrating, squeezing each fruit with the seriousness of someone who had learned to value every penny. Art smiled beside her, his eyes shining with that paternal pride Eleanor had learned to recognize over the past few months. It was a perfect autumn Saturday, with the golden autumn sun filtering through the colorful market stalls, and the scent of freshly baked sourdough bread mingling with the sweet perfume of honeysuckle and wild roses. Eleanor had deliberately kept her phone in her bag, determined to live that moment without the constant interruptions of her other life. But the device kept ringing. "Auntie Eleanor, do you think Daddy will like this orange?" Daisy held up a fruit almost the size of her hand, her brown eyes sparkling with anticipation. "I'm sure he will, my flower. You have an excellent eye for choosing the best ones." Eleanor stroked the girl's dark hair, feeling that familiar pang of tenderness Daisy always awakened in her. It was strange how a child she had known for only a few months could touch her heart, in a way that relationships of years never had. Art approached, carrying bags of vegetables. "Right then, I think we have enough for Sunday lunch." He was wearing a faded blue shirt that accentuated his eyes, and Eleanor noticed the small grease stains under his fingernails, details that, in her previous world, would have bothered her but now made her smile. "And you, Daisy? Have you chosen the oranges for the juice yet?" "Yes, Daddy, and Auntie Eleanor helped me." Daisy jumped excitedly, holding the bag like a treasure. The phone rang again, more insistently this time. Eleanor pulled it from her bag, seeing Alistair urgent on the screen. Her executive assistant would never bother her on a Saturday without a serious reason. "Apologies, it's work. I'll just take it quickly." But before she could accept the call, a familiar voice cut through the market air like a cold blade. "Miss Finch! Miss Eleanor Finch!" Eleanor felt her blood run cold. Alistair appeared between the stalls, his Italian shoes grotesquely contrasting with the beaten earth floor of the market. His hair was disheveled, his tie crooked, and there was an expression of panic on his usually unruffled face. "Miss Finch, thank goodness I've found you. The Korean investors arrived from Seoul this morning. They've brought the meeting forward by 2 days and are in the office right now. You need to return immediately." The silence that followed seemed to last an eternity. Eleanor felt Art's gaze fix on her face, saw confusion taking over his features. Daisy looked from one to the other, not understanding why the atmosphere had changed so suddenly. "Koreans," Art repeated slowly. "Miss Finch?" Eleanor closed her eyes for a moment. That instant in the market square, with the golden autumn sun filtering through the colorful market stalls and the sweet perfume of honeysuckle and wild roses, marked the end of everything. The end of the dream of just being Eleanor. The end of the simple life she had carefully built in Little Hallow. The beginning of the end of a secret she had guarded like a treasure. What a joy to have you here with me. Tell me where you're watching from. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's discover together how this incredible story unfolds. 3 months before that fateful Saturday at the market, Arthur Davies watched the rickety wooden garden fence that separated his small plot from his neighbor's garden. The planks were loose, some broken, creating gaps through which Daisy sometimes slipped to explore the garden next door. 3 years had passed since Serena had left without explanation, leaving only a cold note on the kitchen table. "I wasn't cut out to be a mother or a wife. Daisy is better off without me." Since then, Art had learned to be both father and mother, to hold back tears during difficult moments, and to smile when Daisy asked when Mummy would return. Art's garage barely scraped by. Situated on a side street in Little Hallow, it competed with the gigantic Rapid Fit Auto Centers chain that had set up shop on the main A road. Old customers, lured by lower prices and the familiar brand, had gradually abandoned Art's services. He spent his mornings trying to fix increasingly old bangers and his afternoons looking after Daisy, who had learned to do her homework on the workshop floor, surrounded by the scent of oil and the clatter of tools. On that Saturday in August, while trying to fix a new plank on the fence, Art heard footsteps on the grass in the neighboring garden. He turned and saw a woman approaching. Eleanor was about 35, with light brown hair tied back in a simple ponytail, and wore jeans and a white blouse that had seen better days. She wore no makeup, and there was something genuinely weary in her green eyes. "Hello, you must be my neighbor." She extended her hand. "Eleanor, I moved here a few weeks ago." "Art." He wiped his hand on his shirt before shaking hers. "Welcome to the neighborhood. Sorry about the fence, I was just trying to mend it. Don't worry, actually, I quite like it when there's a bit of connection between the gardens." Eleanor smiled, and Art noticed it was the first time in months he had seen a truly genuine smile. It was then that Daisy appeared, running, her cheeks red from playing in the sun. "Daddy, She stopped abruptly when she saw Eleanor. "Hello? Hello, Princess." Eleanor crouched down to the girl's height. "You must be Daisy. I'm Eleanor, your new neighbor." "Do you have children?" Daisy asked with a child's typical frankness. "I don't, but I love children." Eleanor looked at Art. "Daisy seems like a very special girl." "Yes, she is." Art felt a warmth spread through his chest. "She's the light of my life." "How about some chilled homemade lemonade in my garden? I made a huge jug this morning and won't manage to drink it all by myself." Daisy looked up at her dad, eyes sparkling. "Can we, Daddy?" Art hesitated for a moment. It had been so long since anyone had invited them for something so simple. "If it's no trouble." "Of course not, do come." Eleanor's garden was simple but well kept. There was a white plastic table under a grand old oak tree, surrounded by wild flower beds. The cottage was small, single-story, painted a pale blue, the kind of home Art dreamed of one day being able to buy for Daisy. While Eleanor went to fetch the lemonade, Daisy explored the garden with curiosity. "Daddy, look, she has honeysuckle bushes just like Granny did." "So she does." Art smiled. His mum had passed away when Daisy was 2, but the little girl still held some fragmented memories of her granny. Eleanor returned with a tray, carrying a glass jug of chilled homemade lemonade and shortbread biscuits. "I hope you enjoy them. It's been so long since I've had visitors. I've almost forgotten what it's like." "Do you live alone?" Daisy asked, taking a bite of a biscuit. "I do. I moved here looking for a bit of peace, I suppose." Art noticed something melancholic in Eleanor's voice, but didn't want to be intrusive. "What do you do for work?" "Real estate." The answer came quickly, almost automatically. "And you?" "I own a garage just down the road, round the back. Art's Garage." He smiled with irony. "Creative name, isn't it?" Eleanor chuckled. "To the point. I like that." "Daddy fixes broken cars and makes them new again," Daisy said excitedly. "He's the best mechanic in Little Hallow." "I'm sure he is." Eleanor looked at Art with sincerity. "It must be rewarding working with your own hands, fixing things, making everything run again." "It is." Art felt strangely understood. Most people saw his work as something lesser, dirty. "And sometimes it's a therapy. When life gets complicated, I can always take refuge under a bonnet." "I understand perfectly." Eleanor poured more lemonade for Daisy. "Sometimes we just need a place where we can simply exist." That afternoon, beneath the shade of the grand old oak tree, the three of them shared their stories. Art spoke about Serena, about how hard it had been learning to look after Daisy alone, about the challenges of the garage. Eleanor listened with genuine attention, asking questions that showed she truly cared. When it was Eleanor's turn, she revealed she had lost her parents young in a car accident. "I had to grow up fast, take on responsibilities I wasn't prepared for." She fiddled with her lemonade glass. "I work a lot, perhaps too much. One day I woke up and realized I had built a life that didn't make me happy. That's why I came here, looking for something more. Real." "And what is real to you?" Art asked. Eleanor looked at Daisy, who was playing, making hand shadows on the table. This very moment. People who are exactly who they say they are." The sun was beginning to set when they finally said their goodbyes. Daisy hugged Eleanor as if they had been long-time friends. "Can I come and visit you tomorrow?" the little girl asked. "Whenever your parents allow it, you'll always be welcome here." "It's just me and Daddy," Daisy corrected naturally. "Mummy left when I was little." Eleanor looked at Art and he saw genuine compassion in her eyes. Not pity, compassion. There was a difference, and Art had learned to distinguish it. "Then you and your Daddy are always welcome." Eleanor crouched down and hugged Daisy again. "Good night, my princess." That night, after Daisy had fallen asleep, Art stood on the porch, looking at the house next door. There was a light on in the living room window, and he could see Eleanor's silhouette reading a book. There was something tranquil about that image, the thought that someone else was awake, sharing the quiet stillness of the Little Hallow night. In the days that followed, the closeness between the neighbors became natural. Eleanor would appear by the garden fence each morning to chat with Daisy before school. The little girl had grown attached to her neighbor in a way that surprised Art. Daisy was usually shy with strangers, but with Eleanor, she seemed to have found a kindred spirit. "She's got something special about her," Daisy confided to her father one evening. "It's like she understands things that other grown-ups don't." Art knew exactly what his daughter meant. Eleanor had a way of listening that made people feel important, validated. When Art spoke about the struggles at the garage, she didn't offer empty advice or minimize his problems. She simply listened, asked intelligent questions, and somehow he always felt better after talking to her. One afternoon, Eleanor appeared at the garage. Art was underneath an old Corsa, trying to identify an oil leak, when he heard footsteps at the entrance. "Excuse me? Art?" He slid out from under the car, wiping his hands on a rag. Eleanor stood at the entrance, observing the surroundings with genuine curiosity. She wore a simple navy blue dress and had pulled her hair back into a loose bun. "Eleanor, what a pleasant surprise!" Art smiled, momentarily conscious of his disheveled appearance. "Do come in." She walked slowly through the garage, observing the tools organized on the walls, the cars in various stages of repair, the small office where Daisy did her homework. "It's exactly as I imagined," she smiled. "Organized yet warm. Your personality is written into every corner. It's not much, but it's our home during the day." Art felt a surge of pride for the first time in months. "Daisy spends her afternoons here with me. We can't really afford childcare, so..." "She's fortunate," Eleanor gently interjected. Growing up watching her dad work, learning that honest graft has value, always being close to someone who loves her. That's priceless. Art felt something stir in his chest. Serena had always complained about the garage, the smell of grease, Art's lack of ambition. Hearing Eleanor speak with such admiration about his work was liberating. "Actually, I came to make an invitation." Eleanor leaned against the workbench. "Tomorrow's Saturday, and I heard there's a market day in Little Hallow Village Square. I thought, perhaps you two might like to come with me. I promise not to be intrusive, just it would be nice to have company." "Daisy would love that," Art replied immediately, then hesitated. "I mean, if you're sure it wouldn't be a bother." "Art." Eleanor looked him directly in the eyes. "I haven't done something purely for pleasure in months. I don't have true friends. I don't have family. If you two came with me, it would be a favor you'd be doing for me, not the other way around." There was a vulnerability in her voice that touched Art deeply. Then it settled. "Daisy will be ecstatic." As Eleanor said her goodbyes, Art noticed she paused to observe a poster on the wall, an advertisement for the Rapid Fit Auto Centers chain, offering services with unbeatable prices and cutting-edge technology. "Are they giving you trouble?" she asked, pointing at the poster. Art sighed. "They're running me into the ground. We've lost around 60% of our customers since they set up on the main road. I can't compete with their prices." Eleanor studied the poster for a long moment, her expression turning thoughtful. "Big companies aren't always better, you know. Sometimes they're just bigger. Unfortunately for most customers, that's what matters." Art leaned against the workbench. "But I won't give up. Daisy needs stability, and this garage is all we have." "You're a man of principles." Eleanor smiled, but Art noticed something melancholic in her eyes. That's becoming rare. That night, while making dinner, Art found himself thinking about Eleanor. There was something about her that intrigued him, a subtle sadness she carried, as if she'd lived through experiences that had taught her not to trust people easily. But with him and Daisy, she seemed genuinely relaxed, as if she could let her guard down. Daisy, as obvious as ever, was eager for the next day's outing. "Daddy, do you think Auntie Eleanor will want to see the little ponies at the market? I want to show them to her." "I'm sure she will." Art smiled, realizing how naturally Daisy had incorporated Eleanor into her life. It was as if the girl had instinctively felt that Eleanor was someone special, someone worth loving. On market day, Eleanor appeared at their door wearing jeans and a yellow blouse, her loose hair swaying in the morning wind. Daisy ran to hug her, and Art felt a strange pang seeing the two together. There was something profoundly right about that image. He, Daisy, and Eleanor walking together through the streets of Little Hallow towards the market. The market was a spectacle of colors and aromas. Fruit stalls competed with local craft stands, and the air was laden with the smell of hot pastries and candy floss. Daisy ran from one stall to another, always returning to ensure her two favorite adults were following. "She's radiant," Eleanor commented, watching Daisy negotiate the price of a beaded bracelet. "You're good for her," Art replied honestly. "It's been a long time since I've seen her so happy." "She's good for me too," Eleanor smiled. "There's something in the purity of children that reminds us of who we truly are, isn't there?" Art was about to reply when Eleanor's phone began to ring insistently, and that's when everything changed. After Alistair appeared at the market, publicly revealing Eleanor's true identity, the rest of the day passed like a confused blur. Eleanor tried to explain, but words tumbled out, insufficient. Art heard CEO, responsibilities, and it wasn't a lie, just incomplete. But his mind was fixed on one thing. For months, he had completely opened up to someone who had omitted a fundamental part of who she was. Daisy didn't fully understand what was happening, but she felt the tension in the air. She held Art's hand more tightly and looked at Eleanor with confusion. "Auntie Eleanor, are you leaving?" The girl's innocent question broke Eleanor's heart. "No, my sweet, I just have to sort out some things for work. But you'll come back, won't you? Tomorrow you'll be there to talk by the fence." Eleanor looked at Art, searching for some indication, some sign, but he was looking away, his jaw tight, processing the revelation. "We'll see, Daisy," was all Eleanor managed to say. That night, after Eleanor had left for London with Alistair, Art stood on the porch, looking at the house next door. The lights were out, the windows closed. Daisy had asked 4 times during dinner when Auntie Eleanor would return, and he didn't know what to answer. "Daddy," Daisy said, appearing on the porch in her pajamas. "Why are you sad?" Art pulled her onto his lap. "Sometimes adults complicate things, Princess." "Did Auntie Eleanor do something wrong?" "Not exactly," Art sighed. "She just didn't tell the whole truth about who she is." Daisy reflected on this for a moment. "But she's still Auntie Eleanor, who makes delicious lemonade and taught me how to plant daisies, isn't she?" "Yes, she is. So why does it matter?" Arthur had no answer for his daughter's simple wisdom. Why did it matter? Eleanor had been kind, caring, genuine in all her interactions. Did money and social standing truly change who she was? But the following week, when Genevieve Blackwood appeared at his garage, everything became painfully clear. The elegant woman, in expensive clothes and an unmistakable air of superiority, coldly explained she represented business interests and wished to make an offer for Art's garage. "We understand you've been facing difficulties," Genevieve said, surveying the premises with ill-disguised disdain. "Rapid Fit Auto Centers has been aggressive in its market strategies, but we can resolve this." "How?" Arthur crossed his arms, suspicion hardening his gaze. "By purchasing your business for a generous sum, far more than it's currently worth on the market." Genevieve smiled. But the smile didn't reach her eyes. "You could move to a bigger town, start a new life." "And why would you do that?" "Because we know you're a friend of Eleanor Finch, and Eleanor has developed some sentimental leanings that could jeopardize important business." Arthur felt his blood run cold. "What kind of business?" "Well, for a start, did you know you've been paying rent to her for 3 years? The building where your workshop operates belongs to Finch Holdings. Eleanor is literally your landlady." Arthur's world came crashing down at that moment. It wasn't just that Eleanor had hidden her corporate identity. It was the crushing discovery that unknowingly he had fallen for the woman he'd been paying rent to monthly. Every conversation about his financial struggles, every moment he'd felt vulnerable about the garage's situation, she knew exactly where he stood because she herself owned the place. "You're lying," he managed to say. Genevieve opened a folder and presented documents. Property registered in the name of Finch Holdings. Tenancy agreement signed 3 years ago when you urgently needed a place to set up your workshop after your divorce. Arthur remembered those desperate days after Serena had left. He'd searched for weeks for a place he could afford, and finally an estate agent had appeared with a unique opportunity, a well-located unit for a surprisingly affordable price. Eleanor knew, he asked, his voice barely a whisper. Initially, no, but she discovered it a few weeks ago and chose not to tell you. Genevieve closed the folder. The question is, will you accept our offer and move on, or will you continue to be merely a pawn in Eleanor Finch's emotional game? Art asked her to leave. Alone in the garage, he sank to the floor, amidst the tools he had so carefully organized, and cried for the first time since Serena had left. Not just from the betrayal, but from the shame. For having opened up, for having allowed himself to dream, for believing that someone like Eleanor could genuinely be interested in someone like him. When Eleanor returned from London 3 days later, Art had already processed the anger and come to a painful conclusion. Their worlds were simply too different for anything to work. He was a mechanic struggling to pay the bills. She was a businesswoman who owned half the county. The difference wasn't just about money, but about the fact that she had chosen to withhold fundamental information about who she really was. Eleanor tried to reach out to him, but Art kept his distance. She respected his space, yet continued to appear every day to chat with Daisy by the fence. The little girl was confused by her father's coldness, but Eleanor always explained that adults sometimes needed time to work through their issues. It was during these 3 weeks of silence that Eleanor made the most important decisions of her life. In London, she confronted the board of directors and announced radical changes to the company's structure. She completely restructured Rapid Fit Auto Center's policies, eliminating predatory practices and establishing fair pricing to allow for healthy competition. She created a foundation to transfer urban properties to small business owners, ensuring fair rents and stability. More importantly, she transferred ownership of Art's garage directly into Art's name, with no conditions, no strings attached. When the solicitor questioned the legality of transferring a commercial property without compensation, Eleanor was clear. It's a reparation, not a donation. But Art knew nothing of this. He continued working, looking after Daisy, maintaining his routine, trying to ignore the ache in his chest every time he saw Eleanor in the garden next door. At night, lying in bed, he wondered if he had been too harsh, if he should have given her a chance to explain. But he always came to the same conclusion. If Eleanor truly cared, she would have been honest from the start. Daisy's birthday brought an unexpected turn of events. The little girl had asked for one very specific thing, that Auntie Eleanor be present at the party. Art tried to dissuade her, explaining that Eleanor was busy with work, but Daisy was adamant. "Daddy, I just want the people I love to be at my party, and I love Auntie Eleanor." The day before her birthday, Daisy crossed the rickety wooden garden fence, which Art still hadn't finished mending, and knocked on Eleanor's door herself. "Auntie Eleanor, are you coming to my birthday party tomorrow?" Eleanor was on the patio, reading when she saw Daisy approach. Her heart gave a little squeeze. Daisy was one of the few pure things left in Eleanor's complicated life. "My sweet pea, I'm not sure your dad wants me to come. I asked him, and he said it's my birthday. I can invite whoever I like." Daisy climbed the patio steps. "Please? I've missed you." Eleanor knelt to meet the little girl's eye level. "I've missed you too, Princess, every single day. So you'll come, please?" How could she say no to those hopeful brown eyes? "If your dad's all right with it, I'll be there." Daisy hugged her tightly. "Thank you, Auntie Eleanor. It's going to be the best birthday in the whole wide world." That afternoon, Mrs. Agnes Plum, Art's elderly neighbor who helped look after Daisy, appeared at Eleanor's cottage. "Come in, my dear?" Mrs. Plum, in her early 70s, had lived in Little Hallow all her life. She knew the small village's secrets and possessed that practical wisdom only experience brings. "Of course, Mrs. Plum. Coffee?" "I'd love one, thank you." She settled into Eleanor's simple living room. "I've come to talk about Daisy. Is she all right? She's rather confused." Mrs. Plum accepted the coffee. She doesn't understand why two adults who care for each other are acting like stubborn children. Eleanor nearly choked on her coffee. Mrs. Plum, my dear, I've lived in this village for 50 years. I've watched Art grow up, seen him marry that Serena, no good for him, fall apart when she left, then rebuild himself for his daughter's love. Mrs. Plum sipped her coffee slowly. And I've seen you arrive a few months ago and bring the light back into his eyes. It's more complicated than that. Is it? Because you've got money? Mrs. Plum chuckled. My dear, it doesn't matter if you've got a penny or a million in the bank. What matters is how you treat the people you love. I lied to him. Withholding information is different. The elderly woman set her cup on the small table. And from what I hear, you had good reasons for it. Eleanor recounted her story to Mrs. Plum, her corporate life, coming to Little Hallow for simplicity, and falling in love with the normalcy of life with Art and Daisy. And now he hates me because he found out I own the garage building. He doesn't hate you, my dear, he's afraid. Mrs. Plum took Eleanor's hands. Art was abandoned by his wife. For him, discovering you'd withheld who you truly are brought back the fear of deception, being used and abandonment. But I'd never use him. I know, you know, but he doesn't know. Not yet. Mrs. Plum stood up. Daisy asked for just one thing for her birthday, your presence. Not for the party or gifts, but because she misses Auntie Eleanor, who chats by the fence every morning. And what if Art doesn't want me to come? Art's a good man, but sometimes even good men need a gentle reminder of what truly matters. Mrs. Plum walked to the door. You go to that party, love. And just be the Eleanor that Daisy knows and loves. The rest will sort itself out later. On the birthday morning, Eleanor woke early and prepared the gift she had bought weeks ago, a pink bicycle with a wicker basket and colorful streamers. It was exactly what Daisy had asked for the previous Christmas, but which Art hadn't been able to afford. The party was in Art's garden, decorated with colorful balloons, and a table laden with homemade treats the neighbors had all chipped in for. Daisy was wearing a pale blue dress and a princess tiara, radiating pure happiness. When Eleanor arrived carrying the bicycle, Daisy shrieked with delight. Dad, look, Auntie Eleanor brought the bicycle I wanted. Art, who was arranging chairs, paused and looked at Eleanor. For a moment their eyes met, and she saw there a mix of gratitude, sadness, and something else she couldn't quite place. Daisy, come here, Art called his daughter over. I have a surprise for you too. He emerged from the house carrying another bicycle, pink, with a wicker basket and colorful streamers, exactly the same as the one Eleanor had brought. The silence that followed was broken by Daisy's pure laughter. 2 bicycles, Dad, Auntie Eleanor, this is perfect. Perfect? Art asked, confused. Of course. Now we can all ride together on Sundays, one for the week and one for Sunday. Daisy looked at the 2 adults as if they were a bit slow on the uptake. Don't you see, this isn't a coincidence, it's a sign. Eleanor and Art exchanged glances over the little girl's head. There was something deeply symbolic in that moment. 2 adults who had thought of the same thing, who knew Daisy well enough to choose the exact gift she most wanted, who cared about her happiness above their own complications. The party continued with Daisy at the center of attention, pedaling from one bicycle to the other, giving demonstrations for the guests, blissfully unaware of the lingering tension between her father and her favorite neighbor. When the guests had gone home and Daisy finally fell asleep, exhausted from so much joy, Art and Eleanor found themselves alone in the garden, clearing away disposable cups and stacking chairs. Thank you, Art said suddenly. For what? For coming. For making her happy. For... He gestured towards the bicycles. For knowing my daughter better than I imagined. Eleanor stopped collecting cups. Art, I need to give you something. She pulled a thick envelope from her pocket. Don't open it now. Read it after I've gone. Eleanor, please. She moved closer. I just want you to know that. These past few months have been the best of my life. Not because of romance, not because of passion, but because of the simplicity. Because I could just be Eleanor, the neighbor who drinks lemonade in the garden and helps an incredible girl with her homework. Art held the envelope, feeling the weight of the papers inside. What is this? The truth, all of it. Eleanor smiled sadly. and perhaps a proper apology. She turned to leave but then stopped. Art, Daisy is an amazing child. You've done a wonderful job raising her. Serena lost so much when she left. After Eleanor left, Art stood on the porch, holding the envelope. Inside was the deed to the garage, transferred into his name, no strings attached, and a 3-page handwritten letter where Eleanor told her entire story. She explained about her company, about how she had arrived in Little Hallow looking to escape a life she no longer recognized as her own, about how she had fallen for his honesty, for the way Daisy loved him, for the simplicity of afternoons drinking lemonade under the grand old oak tree. I found out about the garage a month ago, she wrote, and I should have told you immediately. I didn't because I was afraid you'd think it was all planned, that I approached you out of self-interest. The truth is, when I moved to Little Hallow, I had no idea who my tenants were. I just knew I wanted to find a place where I could just be a normal person with normal problems and simple joys. The letter continued, explaining the changes she had made in her company, how she had restructured Rapid Fit Auto Centers to stop harming local businesses, how she had created the foundation to transfer properties. I'm not doing this for you, she wrote. I'm doing it because I learned through you and Daisy that the kind of person I want to be isn't one who uses economic power to control the lives of others. I'm doing it because you both taught me that there are things more important than profit and corporate growth. At the end of the letter, Eleanor was completely honest about her feelings. I fell in love with you, Art. Not because of the mechanic, not because of the devoted father, but because of you. The man who chooses integrity even when it's hard, who teaches his daughter to value honest work, who offers lemonade to a strange neighbor on a Saturday afternoon. I don't expect you to forgive me for omitting who I was, but I hope you understand why I did it, and I hope one day we can be friends again, at least for Daisy. Art read the letter 3 times that night. The next day, he woke to find Daisy in the kitchen, already dressed and her hair neatly brushed. We're going to visit Auntie Eleanor, she announced. Daisy, Daddy, I heard you crying last night. The girl looked at him seriously. And Auntie Eleanor is sad too. Mrs. Plum told me. Things between grown-ups are complicated, Princess. They're complicated because you make them complicated. Daisy crossed her arms. Auntie Eleanor is good for us. You're happy when she's around. I'm happy when she's around. Why does it have to be complicated? Art knelt in front of his daughter. What if I told you it's not that simple? Then I'd say love is simple, Daddy. Only grown-ups make it difficult. Daisy held her father's face with her little hands. Auntie Eleanor loves us, and we love her. The rest doesn't matter. That afternoon, Art walked through the broken fence, which had now become symbolic, and knocked on Eleanor's door. When she opened it, her eyes were red, and she looked surprised. Art, we've read your letter. He showed the envelope. Daisy and I. Daisy can read love letters. Eleanor tried to smile. I read the important part to her. Art entered the cottage without an invitation. About you transferring Art's garage into my name. It was the least I could do. No, it wasn't. Art stopped in the living room. You didn't owe me anything, Eleanor. In fact, I owe you. How so? Art sat on the sofa where they had watched cartoons with Daisy on some Sunday afternoons. I've spent 3 weeks thinking about pride, about how sometimes we prefer to be right rather than happy, about second chances, and how life's too short to let fear decide for us. Eleanor sat next to him, keeping her distance. And what conclusion did you reach? That you changed my life, Eleanor. Not with money, not with social standing, but by being who you are. Art looked at her. You gave Daisy hope back. You taught me that genuine people still exist in the world. You showed me I don't have to carry everything alone. But I lied. You protected your privacy. It's different. Art smiled. Daisy helped me understand that. She said, Daddy, if someone asked if you were divorced, would you tell them? And if they asked how much you earn at the garage? Some things are private until you trust the person. Eleanor felt her eyes well up with tears. She said that. She did. And she also said her life got better when you showed up. And she doesn't understand why 2 people who like each other can't just be together. Art held Eleanor's hand. I don't understand it anymore either. Art, Eleanor could barely speak. We still come from very different worlds. We do. You have a company to run, responsibilities I can't even imagine, and I have a small garage in a small village, a daughter to raise, simple dreams. He intertwined his fingers with hers. But I've discovered one thing these past weeks. What I feel for you is bigger than any difference between our worlds. Eleanor cried then. Tears of relief and gratitude, and something she had forgotten existed. Genuine hope. It won't be easy, she whispered. I know. There will be trips, important meetings, pressures I don't understand. And there will be days when I feel unsure. Days when you'll question if all this complication is worth it. Art gently lifted her chin. But there will also be Sundays of chilled lemonade under the grand old oak tree, birthday parties with double bicycles, afternoons at the market buying oranges. And Daisy? How do we explain it to her? Daisy already understood everything before we did. Art smiled. Yesterday she asked me when you'd be back to chatting with her by the fence every morning. That evening, the three of them had dinner together for the first time in weeks. Daisy was radiant, talking about school, making plans for the bicycles, completely natural, as if the last few days of tension had never existed. Auntie Eleanor, she said at dessert, are you going to stay forever now? Eleanor looked at Art, who smiled and nodded. I'm staying, my love. Forever. Oh, good. Daisy clapped her hands. Now you can teach me to drive when I grow up. Daisy, Art laughed. You're only 8. But one day I'll be 18, and then Auntie Eleanor can teach me to drive her company cars. Eleanor and Art exchanged a look and started to laugh. So much to sort out, so many challenges ahead, so many difficult conversations about reconciling their two different worlds. But at that table, with Daisy planning the future with childhood's unwavering confidence, everything seemed possible. Later, after Daisy had fallen asleep, Art and Eleanor stood on the porch, watching the stars over Little Hallow. The rickety wooden garden fence was finally mended, but they had decided to open a gate between their two gardens. I have to travel to London next week, Eleanor said softly. An important meeting with Japanese investors. How long? 3 days, maybe 4. She squeezed his hand. I even missed you breathing beside me in London. I don't know how I'll manage to concentrate on business, knowing you both are here waiting for me. Art pulled her closer. We will be. Daisy is already planning to bake you a welcome-back cake when you return. And you? I'll be here too, always. He kissed her forehead. I promise I won't let fear speak louder than love anymore. They stayed like that for a long time, in silence, watching the stars and listening to the night sounds of Little Hallow. There was something deeply healing in that shared quietness, the feeling that, despite all the storms they had weathered, they had finally reached a safe harbor. Eleanor, Art said softly. Thank you for choosing the rickety fence. She smiled in the dark. Thank you for mending it without leaving me outside. Next door in the garden, the grand old oak tree swayed gently in the night wind, its leaves whispering secrets to the darkness. And in the small blue house, an 8-year-old girl slept peacefully, dreaming of pink bicycles and Sundays filled with laughter, unaware that she had been the true reason for uniting two lost hearts. The rickety fence was mended, but now there was a garden gate. Two worlds that seemed incompatible had found a way to become one, and Little Hallow had a new family, one built not by blood or convenience, but by the daily choice to love despite their differences. And if this story touched your heart as it did mine, click on the video appearing on your screen now to discover another story that will move you deeply. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the next incredible stories I've brought for you.